my God. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm pretty well. How are you?
Doing just fine. We
That's great.
are doing better now that we're talking to you. We were
Stop.
No, we were so excited because we had just talked to Melissa Ponzio. And like, I think we had just ended the call. And like minutes later, your email showed up and it was just like, what? And I'm frantically texting Kaiten because we're off the call already. And I'm like, oh my God, something's happening. We made it.
It was a great day. It was like just good things happening one after the other.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And your email has been in my inbox ever since, just because like it's kind of like my to-do list is like what's ever in my inbox is the most important stuff. So it's always like there. And I'm like, we got to get it. And finally we were done with season 2. I was like, now we can start emailing some other people. And you're the first email I sent. So
sweet. Yeah, because Melissa told me about it. She's like, you've got to email them and let them know. And I was like, all right, cool. And then of course time went by and I was like, I'm sure they're just watching the seasons and they still care. They still want to talk to you. And look, here I am. Here we are.
Well, every time I feel like I was like going to reach out or something, I think you would post something about like your baby. I'm like, oh no, she's busy. Yeah, so what's going on? I don't want to add to this.
Yeah.
So.
No, on truly, this is like a miracle. The fact that I'm in this chair, I put on makeup for the first time in like 7 months. This is the first non-nursing shirt I've worn in 7 months. Like $1 million. Well, you can see we're in disarray.
Oh my God. That's just life.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we are so happy to have you on the show, Haley.
Yes,
we have been very much looking forward to this because season 3 as a whole, I think, is pretty much the favorite season for a lot of people. And so, we love 1 and 2 because all the seasons are great. And it's just like, but it's like once you get over the hump of 2, then we get into like the real meat and all that. So we are very excited to talk to you because Jennifer and the Drock are like fan favorites, like just favorites of, because of like her look and her costume and like her awesome powers and all that. It's just
and the makeup and the backstory. I mean, just
all good.
Yeah.
All good.
I mean, because like I feel lucky playing, like having played the part, and every time I sort of reflect on playing it, I'm just like, man, that is, again, it's so rare to get a role like that, like in your career. And even just, again, like reflecting for the podcast today, I was like, there are so many different levels to her that I will still sort of like ripple, in my consciousness, like throughout time, where I'm like, oh shit, she really did, this or that. Like, oh wow, that she was really affected by that. So yeah, I'm of course biased about, 3A in particular.
Of course.
No shade to Void Styles, who is of course, ultimate bae, but but yeah, no, I'm stoked. I'm really excited to talk about it and to talk with y'all. So awesome. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, then let's just jump right in. So, so how did Teen Wolf come into your life?
I got an audition for my agent and manager. You'll get like a breakdown for the character, what project it is, time and date of when to go in and stuff. And I hadn't actually heard of the show before I got the audition. Sorry about it.
Okay.
But I was like, I guess there's a show called Teen Wolf. And so I had only known like the 80s Michael J. Fox movie. And so I had really kind of no idea. And the description of the character was minimal. I think it was just like English teacher. And I was like, okay, my mom's a teacher. So I was like, inspiration. And yeah, I went in and did it. And it was one of those auditions. Again, I feel like I've told this like a trillion times, but I had to do the bird scene in the audition and kind of fake the birds. And I just asked, I think it was Wendy, who's the casting director. I was like, dude, do I have to do this? You really want to see it? Like, do you really want to see me ducking fake birds in an audition? And she was like, yeah, unfortunately I do. And I was like, all right. And in moments like that, you got to just commit, because the harder you commit, the better it's going to be. So I committed. And then, ended up booking it and was sort of shocked when I booked it, because I was like, I'm not going to get this. Then I watched the first 2 seasons just to kind of get a feel for the show and to understand what it is and who the characters were. And I found out that I would have sort of a romantic thing with Hecklin, with Derek. And was like, oh, okay. And so watching the first 2 seasons, I got a feel for the show, and then was like really, really excited to be on it. Like I was excited before, and then I watched the show, and also kind of found out that like, oh, this is a popular show. People really like this show. So this will be fun to do, even though at that point I had no idea, what was going to happen to me on the show, other than I might kiss Tyler Hoechlin. So it was.
What else do you really need to know?
Yeah, I was like sold, done, 100%. And you're paying me for this? Like, I'll do this for free. Thank you so much.
Nice. I think one thing that it surprises people. I think when people actually watch the show, especially it surprised me when I watched the show and read the show for the first time, because like you hear Teen Wolf and you're like, oh God, all right, whatever. Yeah, but then you watch it and you're like, holy shit, they actually put some effort into this. Like, what's happening here? So
yeah, actually good.
Actually good. So.
Actually good and like full of heart and. And yeah, I was very surprised actually. I sort of walked into the same thing, like, oh, okay, it's going to be werewolves and blah and teenagers, and okay, sure, let's get this. And then I was like, oh shit, this is very charming, very sort of self-aware in a really sweet way, and has a ton of heart. And the writing is very like not meticulous. That's not the word that I want, but like present, and like people are really trying with this show. And succeeding. Like it's very touching. Nice. So I get why it was and is popular.
Absolutely. Yes. So you mentioned the original Teen Wolf movie. So that you'd seen it at that point, like you had seen the movie before you worked on the show? I
think I had. It's one of those movies that's like in the sort of zeitgeist. And so you kind of know about it. And I don't know that I ever sort of sat down to watch it, but I was aware of of it and aware of like Michael J. Fox and all that kind of stuff. So It wasn't like, oh, one of my favorite films, but I was aware of it.
Nice.
And which is why I was also sort of surprised that the tone of the show was different. I thought it was going to be maybe comedic. I mean, it is, there are comedic elements obviously in the show, but
it gets dark.
It gets so dark. And I was so into that. I was like, okay, cool. Because, you have like Styles as the sort of main comedic relief. But it really gets dark. And especially for a teenager show, I was very like sort of grateful for that. I kind of wish I had that kind of show, when I was a teenager. I guess we had Dawson's Creek. I didn't really watch that.
It was also a horror show.
Exactly.
Him standing in that boat terrified me every time in the opening credits. It was awful.
Oh my God.
I don't want to wait for this horror to end, is what that song should have been.
Oh my God, Will.
There's always time to rewrite it, Will. You got this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Waiting for that gritty Dawson's Creek reboot.
the gritty, scary version of Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
They're going to Riverdale it up. So yeah, it's going to be good.
Exactly.
Or it's like Wolf Creek, but Dawson's there.
Oh, there
Dawson's
you go.
like crying in the corner with his name.
Yeah.
Classic Dawson.
Oh yeah.
So you said that when you came in and auditioned for it, it was pretty much just English teacher. Did you get more information about the character or where it was going when filming started?
Yeah, it was sort of after filming had started. Like when I booked it, they said, okay, you have, I think 8 episodes is what they told me. And you have a romantic interest in Derek. And that's kind of it. And then I started filming the first episode and had no idea. Kind of just figured, oh, I'll just be the new English teacher, and I'm sure something's going to happen, but I don't know what. And Jeff took me aside and was like, started giving me references for films for the character of Jennifer. He hadn't yet told me about the Duroc, but told me about Jennifer and, how he kind of viewed her and what to kind of bring to that part. And I'm very much a big film nerd, so I was very happy that he gave me these references. I watched them immediately when I went home, took notes. I was very into it. But I didn't know the rest of what her journey was going to be. So I was kind of flying blind, which was, exciting and fun to kind of guess, in my own way or in my own mind, like what is going to happen? So yeah, so I didn't know too much. It was really when filming started that Jeff gave me some more info, but slowly trickled, like, little breadcrumbs. I was like, all right, I get it. I'll just show up to work. You can tell me what's going on.
Do you remember any of the movies that he used for references?
The biggest one I think was Romancing the Stone, which I hadn't actually seen. Yeah.
It's a fun movie.
It's a really fun movie.
Yeah.
And I could totally see that, like, especially the scene, when I'm walking into when Derek surprises me for the first time and I have the like stick, like that sort of back and forth was very, very like Romancing the Stone. And so I kind of tried to bring those sort of like, not a full on like frenzy, a frantic element to Jennifer, but that kind of like jolted by how innocent you are. Like, those people, like, bless them. I'm like, I don't know how you get through life that way. I would love to know. Like, you're bright-eyed and I'm just tired. But yeah, that was the biggest one that I remember and watched. And yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
So we had a fan question that was wondering, what steps did you take to get into the character's shoes? So you mentioned the movies Jeff told you about. Was there anything else? And also, before the Drock reveal, where did you think the storyline was going as the story unfolded?
So, that's really good questions. I always work with music, and I always make a playlist or two. And so it's like sort of whatever strikes me as I'm, reading the scripts. And so I immediately made a playlist for Jennifer, which is I still have them, a lot of sort of what I consider, I guess, to be romantic music, sort of unrequited love. Because again, at that point, I was mostly focused on being, romantically linked to Derek. And so, okay, you have the scene where they first meet and she's clearly very smitten. And so, yeah, I made a very long playlist that I would just listen to, on set when I had moments, especially, at home. And just tried to bring out that part of myself, I guess sort of romancing the stone part of myself, like, what does it look like if I didn't get the sense that she was a woman who had like a ton of friends, maybe she was part of like a reading, like a book club. And so I have those elements to me for sure. And so I really tried to kind of just let those shine and tried to also bring those out via music. And in terms of where I thought the storyline was going, I thought it would be tragic somehow. Like if I was there for 8 episodes, I guess I was sort of thinking about it in terms of logistical thing as opposed to creative at first. But I was like, okay, if it's 8 episodes and if I'm with Derek, something bad's got to happen with me. Either I die or he's trying to save me or something. But being a teacher, I wasn't quite sure because again, the main cast are the students. And so I wasn't totally sure, but I will say, watching season 2, I was like, listen, I am walking into this school far too innocent. Like something or someone, i.e. myself, probably has to turn. So I did suspect I couldn't have guessed the Drock, I couldn't have guessed, the whole Druid storyline, but I figured something, I might have malicious intent somewhere in some way. And so not to toot my own horn, but like, spoiler alert, I was correct. And I was right. And then I had to like fake it when Jeff told me. I was like, oh my God, I'm evil. What? Oh my God. I'm like sweating.
I love that you made playlists though. That's so cool.
Yeah, thanks. I still listen to them too. They're, it's a lot of like, a lot of Bjork is on there. I'm a huge Bjork fan. Bob Dylan is on there. But I guess we'll get to the Drock stuff a little bit later. But with Duroc, I have a lot of film scores and like Dark Knight Rises,
Nice.
like all of
Great.
that. I have a lot of instrumental, huge sound, booming kind of songs. But with Jennifer, it's all very kind of lilty and like Tori Amos, So
she has a Lilith Fair poster up at her house.
Exactly.
And yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
So at what point did you find out that you were the Duroc?
I think it was when we were shooting Hotel California.
Okay.
So it was pretty far into it, in part because I had to get fitted for the costume and that whole thing. But it was, I think, 4 to 5, I think Motel California.
Mhm.
Hotel California, yeah.
Okay, Jesus. That was the episode 6 or something.
Yeah.
I think. And so, it was pretty far into it. And Jeff, took me into his office. I think we had already been filming or it was like just after we filmed the romantic scene in Derek's lair or wherever he lives, under the rock where he lives. I'm just like, oh, this, we having a picnic or what's up? It was after we filmed that, I think, that he took me to his office and revealed it to me. And every bit of information he gave me about her backstory and why and stuff. Like he had a couch in his office, and I just was like standing up from the couch, like, yeah, and then like sitting back down, like, oh my God. And then like, yeah, because I thought it was so cool. And so we kind of like nerded out over the reveal. But yeah, I was pretty far into the shooting the season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. That's actually one of my most predominant memories of Teen Wolf, because I had just become the writer's assistant right before they told you. So it was like it was like my very first week in the writer's room. And because his office was in the writer's room, and like I think Russell and Joe were there, and it's like they took you in and told you, and I was like, I'm looking around like, I'm here to witness all this. This is what being a writer is like. So
that's so cool, man. It really is moments like that, doing sort of what we do, that it's so special to have moments like that. I'm glad we shared that moment even between glass.
It was awesome. I was just so happy that I got to be there to witness awesome stuff like that. Yes. So it was great.
Yeah, I remember you telling us about that, Will. He was like, I was there when Jeff told Haley.
I remember seeing you like walking in, because there was that huge, writer's table.
There's the table and the ping pong table and
the
all
ping
that
pong
stuff.
Yep, exactly. Oh man, time. What is time? The construct.
Exactly.
What was the rest of the cast reaction to seeing you in the Duroc makeup for the first time?
Pretty hilarious. Because I was getting it done. I was getting the tests done, and Posey and Dylan came in, and I think Posey was first, and he was more in awe, just like, whoa. And then Dylan kind of trailed in behind him, and he just had this kind of like shocked kind of reaction, more grossed out than anything. And they were just, because it was so good. Like the makeup was so good, and they were still testing out different contacts and stuff. So I think one of the first contacts they tried was more of like a bloodshot look, as opposed to the kind of white that it ended up being.
Oh, interesting.
Which I still have that photo somewhere. I think it's on like a hard drive somewhere, but I think it might've just been like one eye that had a sort of smaller iris, and then like larger, red veins in it. And so I think I had those in, and they were not prepared for seeing that. And I do remember Daniel Sharman was particularly grossed out by the whole thing. And so I really would just chase him around the trailers. And he's so tall and like lanky, and just like chasing this like green bean around. I was like, I love my job. This is amazing.
That's awesome.
But yeah, they were all very much like in awe. equal parts
fantastic.
disgusted. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So this is another fan question. How long
Yeah.
was the makeup process and was it uncomfortable?
It was about 3 hours, and the only uncomfortable part, because the team is so good, they know what they're doing so well. They've done this before, so they know how to help keep you comfortable. And we listened to music the whole time and chatted, and so putting everything on wasn't uncomfortable. It was the taking it off was a process, and you have to use some harsher stuff to take that off, to take off the glue and stuff from your face. And, it's all like skin safe, but I have very sensitive skin. And so I broke out, quite a bit. And then I had to shoot as Jennifer. And I was like, no, like I'm just broken out everywhere. So yeah, it wasn't uncomfortable. It was actually really, really fun. Except one day, I think I got called in and got my full gear, got the whole thing, my outfit, my face. And I think I was there for like 8 hours or something, and they didn't end up needing me that day. So I literally was just like Duroc in my trailer, just like staring at the wall for 8 hours. Like maybe they'll call, and people knocked on my door to check on me to see if I needed water or food or anything. And I thought they were going to call me to set. So every time I heard a knock, I was like, all right, let's do this. And they're like, you good? And I was like, yeah.
Oh
man.
But they were, very, took good care of me. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed, I really enjoyed the process. It's fun to hide in that way. So I really liked it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So I know the costume was also a big production. Barbara told us that it was pretty complicated. What was it like working in that costume?
The toughest part of that costume was the shoes, because they had these very narrow platforms on the bottom. And so the combination of those shoes plus my contacts, which I wear contacts in real life, and those contacts were not my prescription. So I couldn't see very well. And I had these very high shoes. And, the reveal in episode 10, 11, where I come through the dust, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a great shot.
It's so great. And I was like, I cannot mess this up. Like I have to just walk and not fall. I'm like Jennifer Lawrence accepting her Oscar, just like, well, if I fall, that happens. But I was like, I can't mess this up. I just have to do this. And just like zeroed in on like one spot that I could kind of focus on, and was like, I just got to keep walking. But the costume itself, like getting fitted for it was so fun, because I always kind of bring up the elbows of it, because I've never been measured for my elbows before. And they were measuring, like every inch of me. And they showed me the mock-up of what it was going to be. And I was like, this is very fashionable. Like, this is very trendy. And when I saw the material, I was like, oh my God, this is so great. And so like putting the final thing on, you do, like as an actor, you do take on, a different feel, a form of the character. And I was like, oh, I cannot wait to wear this. But also I can't like gain weight or like move weird, because like no one told me not to gain weight, but like just how it moved, I was like, I am stitched fully into this thing. So I've got to,
stay the exact same shape.
The exact same shape. Yeah. Which is like, there was room to breathe, but it was very tailor fitted to me. So it was, I loved it. I loved wearing it. I hated kind of giving it up. I was like, can I just take this home and wear it on the red carpet?
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I 100% would. Yeah. Like, no questions asked.
Well, did you get to take anything from fun from set whenever you left?
I did not, which is very sad. I know, I'm like, I don't know if I did, and it's just like tucked away somewhere and I forgot about it, but I wasn't. I think also in part just being, like a guest star, I didn't want to be like, by the way, y'all, you have 4 more seasons to shoot, but I'm taking this. I take like the Jeep. They're like,
just drive off in the Jeep.
God, yeah, you're annoying. Get out of here. I'm like, beep, beep. Try to catch me. But no, unfortunately, very unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep anything. Because again, I would have loved to have kept like the contacts and you know, something like that. But no, unfortunately, I think someone owns the costume. I think someone out in the world like bought it at an auction or something. So
yeah, I know
whoever that is
at the end.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Well, I hope they're putting it to good use.
Just go to bed every night
Because I can't fit into it anymore. Yeah, which honestly I would love. I'd be like, sit down.
Yeah.
You do you. Yeah. Like I can't fit into that anymore. So have at it.
Do you feel like there was anything genuine in Jennifer's relationship with Derek, or do you feel like she was only using him?
Another really good question. You know, it is revealed she takes power from all of these different people in order to give herself power because she has lost all of her power. #power. My God, I just said power like 17 times. But I do think there was something genuine in her feelings for him. And I think that's in part what makes her so tragic is also just sort of like dramaturgically, it's more compelling if there is something there than if there's not. And so I at least played it as if there is something there. And so I do think, I think if she had met, because, you know, there's like Jennifer, the Duroc, and Julia. And so there's sort of these three aspects to her. And Jennifer, I feel, is this sort of ramped up Julia in a way. But there's a loneliness there. I feel like they were sort of like, not ships passing in the night, but had none of this ever happened and had they met, I think it's very possible that there could have been a genuine, healthy kind of relationship there. And I think what made it so tragic is that she really did have feelings for him, but her revenge track superseded those. Like she could not give up what she was doing. And so that's, I think, good writing where you then put a wrench in the plans. And the wrench is like, I really care about this person. Because if she didn't care, again, how compelling is that? And it wouldn't be difficult for her to do certain things. And I think, you know, especially, you know, at the end, she asks him, she kind of trusts him in this way. She's like, he's like the one person she can kind of trust, and asks him to, you know, take care of Deucalion. And he's like, no. And I think somewhere she knows that that's the right answer, but is pissed. Like,
right.
And is betrayed, like, and truly betrayed by him. And that has nothing to do with like him. He has his own feelings about her and all this kind of stuff. But I think it's the timing was bad and her revenge track was bad. So in terms of timing, I mean, that was bad in terms of her murdering a bunch of people and stuff. But I do think there was absolutely some genuine feelings there that were warped and twisted, unfortunately.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a great example of I mean, Jeff and the writers were very, very good, but I think Jennifer is a great example of just a great example of storytelling where you have this character whose fatal flaw is their single-mindedness towards something and hers being revenge, but then also this other thing coming in. And it's kind of like, well, you can get the thing you want, which is the worst possible thing, or you can have this other thing that's actually good for you. And then watching them clash and it's like seeing
that's
her
drama.
Get pulled in different, you know, it's you're right. It's so much better than her just being like, oh no, she used it the whole time. It's like, oh, well, that's kind of boring, I guess.
I guess that's sort of two-dimensional and like, okay. Yeah, no, that's right. I think that's, you know, that is what conflict is. That's what drama is. And that's what, you know, storytelling, when it is really, really good, is, you know, is that kind of conflict, inner and exterior.
Always fun to watch.
Yeah. And fun to play.
Right.
Because it's like, you know, if I didn't care, what do I have to hook into? It's like, okay, I have my revenge, but then I'm relating to him like he's, a peon or like a fly, a mosquito that I gotta get out of my way.
Right.
As opposed to somebody who I have big feelings for.
Right.
So
it kind of enhances the tragedy of her character that she, like, her life was so destroyed by being used by someone that she trusted.
Yeah.
And she was so hurt by that she kind of inflicted it on someone else.
Exactly.
Regardless of whether that was what she ultimately was trying to do,
Exactly. Which is like sort of tale as old as time, it's like,
right.
And, it's not like she had other people around her to help her. I think if she had that, that would have helped. She might not have necessarily gone down this path, but that's exactly right. Like, I don't think that she was totally single-minded in her task. And it is that kind of classic thing of like, is it worth it? Mm-hmm. Is this going to bring back what you want it to bring back? And no, it's not. And you leave just utter devastation in your wake, and you hurt people in really bad ways. So, which is always, I think, a really compelling story, because we can all relate to those feelings in one way or the other, the feelings of like revenge or envy or being betrayed, and like, well, what would I do? I mean, I wouldn't go like garrote people.
We never know.
It's true. It's true. I'm not going to rule it out. Like, I've done this before. It's fine.
I really liked what you said about, it's almost like there are three characters. There's Julia, the Darach, and there's Jennifer, because Jennifer does feel kind of like wide-eyed and innocent. And it's interesting to think about Julia creating that persona, that the persona she decided to put on was this person who is so innocent, has never had her trust betrayed.
Right.
She's like putting on the persona of someone who's like what she is like, but has never experienced that big tragedy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Because, in the later episodes, there's, at least what I kind of played too, and how it was, written as well, is there's a drop. Like, okay, you know that I'm this monster. I don't need to fake anything anymore. I just am this person. So, like the scenes in the elevator, with Hecklin, and I even tried to like lower my voice a little bit to drop it even a little bit further into my body. Because there is, again, I think there's sort of like elements of Jennifer in Julia. You could even, think about if those were kind of idealized versions, an idealized version of herself, or, okay, you can come back as kind of anything. Who would you be? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like that sort of, which is one of the sort of ripple things I was talking about, of like, that keeps hitting me. I was like, damn, I got to play like 3 characters. This is so cool. Like, when do you get to do that? Right. In one show? So yeah.
Nice. Jennifer is kind of like what Julia is like when you pull out the trauma, and that's what the Darach is. So
right. Exactly.
It just like separates into 2 parts.
Yep, 100%. Awesome. Yeah, it's alchemy.
Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah.
So Teen Wolf villains sometimes come back into the story as heroes. Had Jennifer not been killed at the end of 3A, do you think she could have found her way back to Beacon Hills as a good guy?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I talked to Jeff about it. I was like, dog, listen. I know you got to kill me, but let me pitch some ideas at you. Yeah, because in part, she's a druid. Like, her whole thing was helping people and being, I guess, sort of like a mother figure, a sort of like shepherd in a way. And, like you said, the sort of splitting of like Jennifer and the Darach being these 2 parts of her sort of split down the middle. If you take out the Darach, and even, I guess, kind of blend Jennifer and Julia, who Julia feels to me a little bit more kind of grounded, you know, druid sort of connected to the earth, and Jennifer as more like flighty bird kind of thing. But if you blend those two, I think you could have a really lovely character. And but I also think, you know, it's like, well, the Darach left so much devastation. You know, people, are you going to trust this face again?
Right.
You know, it's like, can you actually, you know, can the characters look at her and trust again? So I would love that. And I do think it could have been possible, if even in sort of like an ancillary kind of way of, you know, if I'm like the Oracle in the Matrix, I'm just making a pie, and the characters come and visit me, and I'm like, oh, hello, yeah. Here's what you do. There is no spoon.
There you go. Nice.
You know, I thought that could have been cool.
Nice. That would be fun.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm doing a new craft each time.
What was it like returning for the season finale as the Anikate, and were you excited to be there for the end of the show?
Yes, I felt so honored when I got asked back, and so excited, and I kind of got why I was the person that Derek, you know, I guess like couldn't really see again, because you have that play into if there are feelings there, you know, that's why this is going to be traumatic for both, you know, involved. And so I was so happy to kind of lean into that, because again, it's like you add a fourth element in a way to my part kind of in that episode, where I'm not just the Darach, I'm not just Jennifer, I'm not just Julia, I am this other character as well. So as an actor, it's like you have to really lean into those elements, because you're not just straight playing the part, you're playing it as interpreted by another character.
Right.
And so it was fun to kind of like walk down a hallway and just like taunt Tyler Hoechlin, who is like the sweetest man of all time. But yeah, I loved it. It was, you know, short little thing. I think I was there for like a day. And yeah, we felt very honored to be back for the final episode, and to be back in that way. And for, you know, my sort of number one scene partner, Tyler Hoechlin, that was really fun. It was fun to reconnect with everybody.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love the pictures of you and Tyler Hoechlin whenever you're in the Darach, like when he's like just like holding you up, right?
Oh, that's so
like,
good.
We bought a house. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I love those. I would have taken like so many more. There's no time.
Should be like a whole like engagement photo shoot style.
Dude,
Right, yeah.
He's like holding my bum. Yeah, I'm like calling my mom, crying. You have to light it though, so you can actually see the tear rolling down my bacon face.
I feel like that's a great missed opportunity.
100% prom photos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been quite spectacular.
Yes, indeed. Agreed.
So on Teen Wolf, the villains always have interesting powers, but you're the only telekinetic villain we've had. And do you think that made her the most powerful villain?
Ooh. Listen, you know I'm going to say yes. Of course. I've already said power 78 times. Yeah, I mean, that is such a, you know, it's sort of like when you ask people if you could have one superpower, a lot of times what it is like, oh, I wish I could fly or be invisible. And, you know, you want to be invisible in parts, you can like spy on people, see if they're talking about you. But yeah, I think that is I mean, there are some insanely powerful villains on the show in all sorts of really cool, unique ways. But having that power is singular, you know, able to kind of do these things. And it's just, I think that's the thing, is she's able to do other things that not a lot of the other villains are able to do, and do them without sort of like physically needing to do them herself, her body. which is really cool. Which is, again,
Very
I'm
cool.
like, what a cool character, just I wish I could still play her. Knitting in a corner, baking cookies, with balls.
Doing anything.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah, literally anything.
Well, the movie was just announced yesterday.
Yeah, they just announced the movie, so
Anyone
who
can come
knows?
back.
Dude, I just show up on set like,
Hey, remember me?
oh my God, yeah. You guys are
So
sitting here
weird.
too? So weird. Yeah.
What are the
No,
chances?
that's very exciting.
So do you have any fun stories from the Teen Wolf set that you would like to share?
Oh man. I just had such a great time the whole time filming. I really couldn't wait to go to work every day. I think, one of the most fun times was finding out that Dylan went to high school with my brother. They went to the same high
really?
school. Yeah. And my brother's younger than me by about 4 years. And reminds me actually a lot of Dylan. Like a lot. They're very, even similar, like coloring. They're very similar. And he, we were sitting in our chairs, between scenes, and we were just kind of talking, and he was like, "Wait, are you Ian Webb's sister?" And I was like, what is happening? Because we lived in Hermosa, which I think is where Dylan lived, or at least the South Bay. We lived there for a while. And Dylan's sister was actually in my brother Ian's class. And
wow.
Dylan was like, "I'll never forget your brother," because he was like the only one who was nice to my sister when we first moved to our new high school. And which tracks. My brother is amazing. I can never say enough great things about my brother, but it was really fun to have that, that connection. Usually it's sort of like a professional connection, like, oh, we worked together with the same person, or, oh, this and that. And so that was like the first day we worked together, and he was like, "Oh, I know you." Like, I know your brother. And so that was really, really fun. Man, I'm like, again, like chasing Daniel Sharman was hilarious.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Actually, one of my favorite things about filming, I'm unfortunately very bad at breaking. I break character pretty often. If something's funny, I find it very hard to tamp that down. And the moment in the scene where I'm fighting the twins, when they're the huge person, and I have to pull them apart. Just the idea of that was so funny to me. I couldn't take it. And so like I tried biting my cheek. I tried like thinking about horrible things, to not break, but every time I had to go, and we were like rehearsing, and I had to grab the twins, who are both hilarious and lovely, by the neck and try to like push them apart, and they had to try to like keep their heads together. I couldn't hang. I was like, you just have to fire me. I'm so sorry. You hire someone else to do this, because bro, I cannot, like. And so I had to do multiple takes, and I can't remember who it was, but there was somebody who I think was getting quite frustrated at me. And I was like, okay, that's it. I got to just like shut this down. But that was one of my favorite moments filming. And it works in the show, and I knew it was going to work with like effects and stuff, but man, it's still funny to me. Like, God,
like to think about, like,
yeah.
It is.
Yeah, right. Just like trying to pull apart two human beings, like, because I don't have that power. Like, and they're quite strong. But yeah, no, I loved that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Teen Wolf fans are some of the most passionate fans out there. Do you have any memorable fan encounters that you'd like to share?
Oh my God, yes, I agree with this. Like, they are extremely passionate, and it's this symbiosis. I'm like, is that the word? Between the fans and the show is so beautiful. And I did HowlerCon one year, and so I was able to meet actually a lot of the fans. And this group, like all of a sudden, we were doing a panel, and it was going to be my birthday, I think in a few days. And they like stopped everything and they brought out a ukulele and a cupcake.
Aww.
And they sang to me in front of like, dozens of people. And they like meant it. They were so like, they were really singing me happy birthday and actually brought me a cupcake. And like, it was just so touching. And I have felt so lucky to be, a part of this show, in part because it comes with like all of these incredibly creative, wonderful people. And I've been able to have, conversations with fans and talk to them and hear their thoughts about Jennifer and like who they are as people, like their siblings are having babies, I'm like, oh my God, congratulations. Like it's so, it's a really unique position to be in. And I feel very lucky that, I've been able to be there and meet, a bunch of wonderful people, because the show means so much to them. Sometimes elements of characters mean so much to them. You don't know what's going to kind of strike someone. And I've, had a few fans kind of come up to me and tell me how much certain things meant to them, even to just like claim their own power in certain ways. And it's really beautiful to see it, firsthand, how it affects people in positive ways. So I'm very, very fortunate and grateful, to be in this position.
That's wonderful.
Very sweet about the birthday.
Yes.
So
sweet.
I literally teared up. I was just like, I can't. Yeah, I'm too sensitive for this. Like, please stop.
Are there any characters that you wish Jennifer had interacted with more on the show?
Yes, I really wish there had been like a parent-teacher meeting. I really wish there had been a Melissa Ponzio, Lyndon Ashby situation where I was concerned maybe about Scott's and I guess Stiles' attendance. And we had like a powwow, I was like, well, listen, if I'm an adult in this and not a teenager, let me hang with some of the adults. Like, let me hang. So yeah, I really wish I had gotten some parent teacher conferencing with Melissa and Lyndon. I think that would have been really fun.
That would have been
awesome.
great.
Yeah, right.
That would be so interesting.
Yeah. Even if it was just like a little, like a brief little scene, and I got like intimidated by, Melissa or something. Like, oh, okay, well, he's fine. I'm sure everything's great at home. Great to meet you. Like, that would have been so fun.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, and then later, like after the reveal comes, they could be like, you know what? If that's what all this is about, why didn't you have a parent-teacher conference and tell my mom about how bad I'm doing in English? That's what I want to know. And you'd be like, because you're doing bad in English. That's why.
Exactly. I'm drooling the whole time. I have no lips. I'm just like, listen. That would have been amazing.
That would have been so good.
So good. And I think doable in the show. Like, there's a way to fit that in.
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Teen Wolf is very good at toggling between different tones very quickly in a scene.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So that totally could have worked.
Oh, absolutely. Like right before, Peter like slashes me across the throat, Scott's like, wait. Like, that would have been really fun.
Wait, but how did I do on the Heart of Darkness test? Real quick.
I'm like,
real quick.
Well, actually, yeah. And like, yeah.
Thesis was a little weak on this paper.
Yeah, exactly. Like a B- at best. Yeah. I believe in you. Yeah. We were all rooting for you.
Yeah. That would have been really good.
Yeah.
So this is a fan question. What were some of your inspirations for playing the character? Anything you took from other pieces of media?
Wow. These are really great questions. Yeah, I mean, definitely the music. Like, I would listen to, especially the Banshee scene, Lydia's, I guess, reveal. After every take, I would kind of, if I was able to, go back and listen to music, again, like The Dark Knight Rises, sort of like huge banging drums. And yeah, films. I mean, mostly the film, like Romancing the Stone, things like that. But mostly I would say music, and then just kind of whatever imagery would kind of pop into my own head, which isn't literal really to the scene. It might just be, I think actually the image of like a tree was actually very helpful for me because trees are so powerful. She was obviously connected to a tree, and looking into, different root systems, because I wanted to be rooted in that way as the Duroc, to have that kind of raw power that she's drawing from. So yeah, I made the playlists public. So if people did actually want to go see the music, they could look it up. I'm not exactly sure how, because I'm old, but if you wanted to like search Spotify for me, you can actually see the songs that I made for Jennifer and the Duroc.
That's what I'm doing immediately after this.
We'll definitely have to do that.
I gotta make sure that's actually on the setting. Yeah. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure I did.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So who in the cast do you think would be the best alpha in real life?
Oh, in real life? That's a really good question. They all listen to this and they're just like, she better say me. Wow. Because it's like they all would in different ways. There's something really Holland Roden is a very interesting person and a really unique person. And she has a lot of she's very smart. She's really funny. And I'm kind of inclined to say Holland, but it's like, I don't know that these people would want that power. It's like, would she want to be? I don't know. But also it's like, I look at someone like Melissa, who is just such a rock solid, encouraging, loyal person, that she's someone I would follow into war. No problem. Like she wouldn't even have to ask. It's like she could give me a look and I'd be like, I'm right behind you. Whatever you need, I'm there. Nice. So yeah, maybe I'll go with Melissa Ponzio.
We'll allow it.
Nice. She's like, fuck you. This is not. I'm a beta. How dare you? I know nothing, Jon Snow.
Nice.
So we've talked a lot about Jennifer's, or Julia's, I suppose, backstory. And the core of that story, obviously, is her betrayal by Kali. But we don't get a lot of detail about that relationship. What do you imagine that relationship was like before Kali betrayed her?
Again, sort of like dramaturgically speaking, it's going to be richer if there are deep feelings. And I think what their relationship was a very intimate one, and not necessarily a romantic one, although I know people have kind of brought that up and kind of asked that, and like, sure, like why not? But I really think there was a deep, deep trust there. And being her sort of emissary, being someone that she kind of goes to, I felt like Julia held that position with a lot of integrity and honor and reverence, and was able to I think she was able to be personally intimate and have trust with Kali more so than anyone else. And maybe shared things, about her own feelings that she might not have shared with other people, and felt a real kinship with her. So to be betrayed by her in particular would have been the ultimate betrayal, would set you down a path of revenge, of what would make this person capable of murder. The stakes have to be pretty high, especially as an actor. If I'm going to ground this in anything, which I should, I have to ground it in this deep connection. And so I really think their relationship was one of really deep intimacy, and telling a friend, your like number one secret, and then they tell someone, how would you feel, if that were to happen, and then magnify it, so I think they had a very deep relationship, which is also why, before the whole Shards of Glass, when Kali is like, I don't care, to have someone that you love and that you trusted with your full self, to then just be like, I don't care about you. That's going to set off some feelings.
Yeah.
So I think that they had a very deep relationship before the whole revenge. Because again, if it was like they were friends, what the hell? But what does that mean?
Right.
Oh, they were just friends who got coffee every Wednesday or whatever, or every so often. That's one thing. But am I going to go on a revenge track for that?
Yeah.
I don't know, So I think they had to have a lot of a deep connection in order to feel so betrayed and do what she does.
Gotcha.
I'd watch a whole like prequel show about like the relationship leading up to that.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
Same. It's, you can only tell so many stories on one show and stuff. But yeah, that was one thing I wished that there was time to kind of explore further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
I definitely wondered if it was a more than friends thing, but I tried to keep the question classy so that no one would be like, objection, leading the witness.
So how romantic do you think they were?
Like, I think the answer's in the question. Yeah. I'm getting trapped here. Yeah. Like, can I answer differently?
Right.
But I also definitely think it's possible. Like, and it could be the kind of thing, almost like a Remains of the Day, where, Anthony Hopkins is so deeply in love, but he cannot say anything because of his job, because of his station in life. And I think it could have been that kind of thing where Julia could have been so deeply in love with Kali, but she can't say anything. She can't move on it. She can't do anything. So then you have that extra betrayal, of the like shame, the internal shame of not being able to fully be yourself. Yeah. I think there are a lot of different ways you can kind of go.
Yeah. That's really interesting to think about.
Yeah, totally.
So if you could have played any other characters on Teen Wolf, who would you have picked to play?
Oh, man. I feel like Styles is a classic. I feel like that's somewhat of a classic answer, but that would be so fun. And then to be Void Styles, come on. Come on. That is a dream. Like when I heard about Void Styles and I was gone, that was like the ultimate betrayal. Haley Webb going on a revenge track, started garroting people, and I was like, "How dare you leave me out of this?" I gotta say, because he has so much heart, so much. He's like the Samwise Gamgee of of Teen Wolf, and so that, and obviously Dylan brings so much to that part that he really lights him up. And so I don't think I would do as good a job, but I think that would be a really fun character to play, that kind of really loyal, morally conscious, best friend.
Yeah.
Love to see a female Styles. I think
yeah, right? Yeah. Same. Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite episode of Teen Wolf?
I really liked Motel California. I thought it was very cinematic, because you have all of these different threads being revealed and being, kind of put together, and you see how they kind of connect. And I love that shot of Holland, where she's like on the ground looking at the fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the wind is blowing, and I even got like little chills. And you don't quite know yet about, Jennifer and Derek. And then there's this, he is becoming like romantically involved with her at that moment. And there are things people are finding out. And I thought that was just a really, I guess, apex kind of episode. I really, really liked that one.
It's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I get it.
A poll, and that was by far everyone's favorite.
The winner.
Episode.
Really? Oh, it makes a lot of sense. It's a really, really good episode. I think across the board, it was like really extremely well done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think I think it's a great example of a Teen Wolf episode because Teen Wolf's very good at really really kind of diving into the characters and like what they're going through, like in this particular episode or even over the course of a season as a whole. And I mean, the episode really dives into Scott and Styles and everybody, but it's like they're obviously the crux right at the very end. But then as Teen Wolf is so good at doing it, it kind of takes your mind off of something else for a moment. And then right at the end, it's like, oh, wait, you forgot about me.
Exactly.
Or this other thing.
Yeah,
because you're so honed in on the actual character drama that it's like, remember, we're a monster show. And then you get the great reveal.
Still a monster.
And there's a monster who we are now revealing in her full glory. You know, so it's like this double, it's like the first punch is the emotional punch, and then the second punch is just like, and here's the thing they have to defeat. Otherwise it's gonna be
exactly.
So it's just a great episode.
That's so right. Yeah. Because the moment between Scott and Styles, it makes you cry every time. Even thinking about it, I'm just like, whoo.
It's good.
And you know that they're close in real life. You know that, they're friends, it's just like the whole gestalt of it is so just, well done. Really well done. I can definitely see why that's a fan favorite.
There are so many layers to the story in Motel California. Like I remember reading this fan theory. It was not something that had occurred to me, but they were saying that all the werewolves who get dosed in Motel California are living out kind of their biggest fears. And it's intercut with Derek's scene with Jennifer, and his biggest fear is his history with Kate repeating itself.
Right.
So he's also living out his deepest fear. He just doesn't know it yet.
So sad.
And that had never occurred to me. And I was like, oh my God, like it is, that's what makes Teen Wolf so great for a rewatch podcast, because you really do pick up on new layers every single time.
That's something I wouldn't think of that. Hadn't thought of that. Yeah. I know it must be so fun going back and rewatching the whole show and then like breaking it all down, because you have all of these new layers and like, that's really cool.
It's been fantastic so far.
Really,
I bet. Oh, that's so good. Oh, I love that.
Quite good. What was it like being the impetus for Scott's transformation into a true alpha? Because I feel like sometimes, because people know that Scott is a true alpha, by the, like at the end and all that, but then you're like, well, let's go all the way back to where it started. And it was with you and, with him pushing his way through that, through the Mountain Ash circle. And that was the thing that turned him into who he's supposed to be at the end of the day. And
which again is something that I found hilarious, because there's nothing there. I'm such a clown. I'm just such like you wouldn't think that I'm like a professional actor, because I'm like, we all are buying into this imaginatively so that we can tell this story. But seeing Posey pushing against nothing, I'm like, like don't break. He's true alpha. He's a true. This is a big moment. This is a big moment. Like, even like moving is hilarious to me, because I imagine us as humans as like ants carrying breadcrumbs, and I'm just like, we're just moving stuff. This is ridiculous. But being connected to that, it was really special. Like when I read that, I was like, it was fun to feel further embedded in the series, to feel further embedded in this storytelling, and not just like, oh, you're bad, everyone hates you, go home.
Right.
To have this moment. So, I had only been there for season 3, but it, the other actors had, obviously more time together, more time to build up to this moment. And so to be able to kind of witness, their creative process with that, and to hear conversations, on set, either between like Jeff or the directors about what this means for Scott and all this kind of stuff, and hearing them kind of discuss it, I felt very privileged to be in that position. So it was kind of cool to do that, and then be part of the reveal for Lydia, because her scream is obviously so iconic.
Right.
And then to be like, oh, by the way, I'm going to erase this off like a scratching, with a penny, and be like, you're a banshee, dog. Like, and you won $5.
Great.
Yeah. I love Fridays. Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about those two things together, but that the true alpha reveal and the Banshee reveal they both come from Jennifer. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if like for her character, it was kind of frustrating because her whole thing is that she had all her power taken away, #power, and she had to go on this whole really complicated journey to reclaim her power. But in the meantime, she's sort of like presiding over these other characters' self-actualization. And it must be frustrating to be like, ooh, all you had to do was push through an invisible circle, or all you had to do was like scream and let me explain it to you.
Yeah.
You know what
Meanwhile,
I mean?
I'm walking on heels.
Know what I had to do?
Yeah. Excuse me. Have a seat. Yeah. Dude, 100%. I think so too. I mean, just, as like the actor, I'm just like, wow, that was easy for you. Nice, cool reveal. I had to walk in stilts, when I couldn't see. Amazing. But no, yeah, I think there's definitely that element to it too. Because that would be really frustrating. And then she dies. And then you're like, well, yeah, sorry, girl. Like, I guess just don't kill people.
Moral. That is the entire moral of Teen Wolf. Don't kill people.
That is the moral. Yeah, it's a good moral.
All these things, there would be no Teen Wolf.
Bad thing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm down. I've heard worse morals. Yeah.
What scene was the most fun or the most challenging to film?
Man, I had a lot of fun with Hecklin in the Motel California scenes, and he had to be shirtless more than I did, and so there is a special kind of bond you have with other actors when you're doing scenes like this, and so I just remember laughing so much with him while shooting that, and in part trying to like crack jokes. Not that it was like, it's MTV. It's not like the scene itself wasn't like super explicit. But it's like a vulnerable thing. And so try to keep it light and respectful. And so I just remember just having so much fun with him during that. And, you got to figure out the angles of kissing and stuff. And he has to like lean on his biceps to like, and I'm laying there. And again, I'm like, don't laugh. I'm just like, yeah, I really love doing that scene. And then I would say the most challenging scene was the whole alpha reveal scene, just logistically, with Deucalion and fighting him, and then having to go into my Darach makeup, and we shot sort of further out, having to walk in those shoes. That was challenging, but also sort of conversely, the scene where I'm fighting everyone, where I crash through the ceiling and then I'm fighting Kali and all these people. Man, I could do that 365 days out of the year. I'm like, I will not go home. I'll just keep fighting here. I feel like I'm in a music video and I am living my fantasy. Like, let me have this. So I also really, really enjoyed that scene, awesome. Shooting that one as well.
That's awesome. Teen Wolf villains also sometimes come back to life. If the opportunity presented itself, would you want to come back into the world of Teen Wolf?
Yes. And apparently there was like a movie that was announced yesterday.
I have heard something about that.
Yes. I heard, through the grapevine. Yes, no, absolutely. In kind of whatever fashion, even if I came back as sort of like even more ragged, and I'm just like, help me, like the bride and Kill Bill, just like bumbling through with dust flying. I would love to in kind of any fashion. And it's always sort of a dream of mine as an actor to have a part where I'm like in a line and I'm behind the main character and I'm like really pissed, like I really have to be somewhere, and they're ordering something or like some huge thing is happening in the story, and I'm just behind them like, God, can this person just hurry up? And then as soon as I'm like about to speak, if they like leave, they cut. So like I don't actually speak. Just put me in that part. Like that's all I want. They have me in the back, just being like, "Can you wrap it up? Thanks." Like that's all I want.
I think that's amazing. That'd be awesome.
That little cameo.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, who is that? Oh, that's the Duroc with her pumpkin spice latte.
With her,
over there. And yeah.
She can't knit without her pumpkin spice.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So.
I was like,
yeah. So this is our last fan question.
Okay.
Did Jeff Davis tell you about the plan for the original owner of Jennifer's face to appear in season 5 if Tyler Hoechlin hadn't left?
Oh, I think he did. I think this is part of the like, oh, how could we kind of come back? How could I kind of come back? How can, that kind of happen? And so he did. I think that was one of the things that he told me about, which I thought, if I'm not mistaken, they were going to kind of start to do that. But then, yeah, Hoechlin left. And so I was like, thanks. Not kidding. But yeah, he did tell me about that. And I think they were starting to kind of, move toward that, which would have been so fun. But I'm happy for Hoechlin, and yeah, the rest is history.
It's true.
I think it would have been really interesting. Like, yeah, he said it would have been like a very like Vertigo storyline.
I know.
Love to have seen that.
Yeah, because I didn't know that he made that sort of like a public thing. Because I mean, he like told me about it, and I was like, that would be perfect. Like that would be the way also to kind of come back. But yeah, alas.
Yeah. And it'd be a whole new character. So it'd be this other person.
Character. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. Let me have this. I should have texted Hoechlin and been like, listen, bro, hang on. We got to talk.
Yeah. Be solid, man. Just stay on for another season.
Do it for me.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, Haley, why? I don't owe you anything.
Because I want to fucking go to work. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. I'm dying here. He blocks my number.
That's very un-Superman of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Superman doesn't block people.
ACW, it's Haley.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're like, again? Stop calling us.
Well, Haley, do you have any upcoming projects you can tell us about?
Yes, I'm in as an actor. I'm in, there's a movie called Blonde coming out, I think in 2022. So next year. It's gotten pushed a little bit, with Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe.
Nice.
Wow. Directed by Andrew Dominic, who did Assassination of Jesse James.
Yep.
I'm in that.
Nice.
Awesome.
And I just shot another little movie. I'm not sure when it'll come out, but I'm also working mostly now on my own stuff. And I did a short film a couple of years ago called Joyeux Noel, and I'm working on the feature version of that to direct that.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I've always directed things here and there, and I'm really trying to kind of do that more because I love it. So yeah, that's kind of what I have going on. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, stay posted or keep, I don't know. My mommy brain is like exploding right now. I'm like, what do people say at the end of this? Subscribe.
They posted, kids.
Yes. How you doing, fellow kids?
Yes.
We're like, Haley, go take a nap.
There you go. Well, Haley, this has been an absolute pleasure getting to talk to you.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God, my
for
pleasure.
Sitting down with us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So much fun.
Yeah,
I can't
likewise.
wait to see your directing project.
Yes.
Thank you. Can't wait to show y'all. And if it's terrible, I'll just use a different name.
There you go.
I didn't direct. Yeah. I'm an actor. Leave me alone.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. This has been an absolute dream come true. We've been looking forward to this for a long time, and we can't wait for everyone else to hear this, and it's going to be absolutely wonderful.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This was great. All the fan questions were amazing. This was my pleasure entirely.
Awesome. Well, you have a wonderful rest of your day with that adorable baby and the fam.
I will.
And we'll be talking soon, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Right.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
That was wonderful.
That
was great.
Cool.
That was